recently took a poll on my community tab to see where my community is with sublimation. And since I asked, I'm also going to answer. Let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Crafting with Delonda. It's me again, Delonda, and thank you so much for joining me today. If you are anything like me, you love a good checklist, and we are going to be using this checklist today to follow along and go through the sublimation process step by step. And every time we finish a step, we will check it off as we go. And at the end, we will have a beautifully sublimated image on our shirt. Now, at the end of this video, if you find it helpful, remember to like the video, subscribe to this channel, and turn on the bell for notifications because I do upload new content every single week. Now, if you want to have this same exact list to follow along and go through as you sublimate your first shirt, make sure to click the link below the video, sign up for my email list, and you will have access to this exact same document. Let's get started with number 1, gathering our materials. Step 1 in how to sublimate a shirt is to gather the materials. The materials we're using for this tutorial include a sublimation paper in the 8.5 by 11 size. I'm using my Epson EcoTank 2760 series printer. It has sublimation ink inside. I use Hippo sublimation ink. I'm using butcher paper to go inside the shirt to protect the shirt, the ink from going through one side to the other side. And I'm also using butcher paper on top of the shirt to protect my heat press. I'm using Cricut heat resistant tape. I just prefer this brand. It comes in a package like this, but I like to keep my rolls in this little hedgehog right here. I'm using a polyester shirt. For this tutorial, I'm using a Cricut brand medium ladies cut polyester shirt. And I'm using a heat source that will reach at least 385 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm using the 16 by 20 auto open Walla press that I purchased from Heat Transfer Warehouse. And I'm using an Evercare lint roller, and this one is refillable. Okay, now let's move on to number 2, which is find a PNG image. I'm going to check off gather material. Step 2 on our list would be to find a PNG, find an image. So this process will be the same even if you were looking on Etsy or Design Bundles or Creative Fabrica or wherever you like to print your images from. I personally recommend using Creative Fabrica because there are so many beautiful images that the hardest part will be deciding on just one to print. I am going to show you the file that I'm using. I actually found a fantastic bundle that just really spoke to me. And so now I'm going to I'm going to check that off because I found the image. Now let me show you how to download the image. I am on the Creative Fabrica website because once again, I just have found so many wonderful files that I love. I found this bundle and I immediately fell in love with it, but this process would work the same from Etsy or Design Bundles or wherever. First, you will click download. And since I'm using a Windows-based operating system, my downloads will start in the upper right corner of my computer screen. So what I'm doing is waiting for the download to finish. And once it does, I will see a zipped folder. Once the folder pops up, I can see it has a zipper. I will click on the download and I can see the list of files included in this bundle. We'll click on extract all and browse, and I will navigate to my Creative Fabrica files folder, and I will rename the folder to match the name of the bundle. In this case, it's called Sarcastic Sublimation Bundle Funny Cows. And all of those files will be saved to a folder on my computer. Now that we have downloaded the image, I'm going to check that off. And we are going to upload the image into the software. Now, I am personally, for this tutorial, I'm printing from Silhouette Studio. I also highly recommend that you print from Silhouette Studio because the only limit is your printer size. My printer will print up to 8.5 by 14. I'm going to demonstrate how to set up your settings within Silhouette Studio using 8.5 by 14 paper. You can also print from Cricut Design Space. You can print from Microsoft Word, Google Docs. Print from wherever you are the most comfortable printing from. I am in Silhouette Studio, and the first thing I want to do is make sure that my page or my paper size matches the paper I'm using. So let's look at the settings over here on the right. If I take a closer look, I can see to change my paper size, I can change the width to 8.5 and the height to 11, which is a standard size piece of paper. For machine, I have none, and cutting mat, I also have none. However, if I wanted to change my paper to 8.5 by 14, all I would need to do is, once again, adjust the settings. So letter size is 8.5 by 11, and I don't see the option for 8.5 by 14. But if I wanted to change it, all I would need to do is go into where the numbers are for the height and change the 11 to a 14 just by typing it in. I could delete the numbers that are there, type in 14.0 and click enter on my keyboard. As you can see, that gives me a longer piece of paper to work with, which is fine. Now what I'll do is click File in the upper left corner, and I'll click on Merge, and I will bring in the file that I plan to use from the bundle that I just downloaded from Creative Fabrica. So I'll click on that sarcastic sublimation bundle. I'll navigate to that chicken or that duck or whatever that is. I think it's a chicken. I'll click on it, which is image number 5, and it will load onto my document. When the file comes in, it will be considerably bigger than my document, and it's okay. All I'll need to do is resize it to fit on the paper. What I'm doing right now is resizing the image and making sure that it fits nicely on the paper. I'm stretching it out and still making sure that it does not get any bigger than the actual paper. But I am going to zoom in so that you can see that there is a red outline on this image, and I don't want it there. In order to get rid of that red image, I have to come down to the 5th option on the right panel, and there are 2 options here. I can see line style and I can see recently used. I'm going to click on that white box. It looks like an empty paint bucket, and once I do that, it will remove that red outline for me, which is exactly what I want. Almost ready to print. As I look closely at my document, I can see that this image will definitely fit on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. So I don't need 8.5 by 14. Now I'm ready to print. What I'm going to do now is click File and Print, and my printer options will come up. I'm going to click print, even though my preview does not look right. I'm not worried about it. I'm going to select my Epson EcoTank 2760 series printer, but my printer options are behind this window, so I just need to move it over. Now I can search for my Epson EcoTank 2760, and I can click Preferences. Once I do that, I'm going to change the option to my Sublimation preset with the letter size document in portrait, and these are what my printer settings look like. Once I click print, after I've double checked everything, I will get a print preview, and then I can decide if it looks the way it's supposed to before printing. So I'm clicking print. And here is my print preview. It looks backwards. It's all on the paper, the whole image. This is perfect. I'll click print, And everything I'll do from here will be back on the camera. Here is my sublimation paper. On the back of it, it has the word A sub, and that is actually facing away from me. So when I put this paper in the back of my printer, I can get it ready for printing. And now I'm going to click print. All right, let's look at our checklist. While we were in Silhouette Studio, we resized the image. We also prepared the image for printing, making sure the image was rotated. That's how my printer settings are saved. Now we are on number 7, which is printing the image. Now I will turn on my heat press to 400 degrees. Here's my printed image. Now let's move over to the heat press. My heat press is heating up to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, so I am going to check that off. And right now on number 9, what I'm supposed to do is lint roll the shirt, cover it with butcher paper, and pre-press it for 10 seconds. I typically keep my sublimated image on my heat press while it's heating up. If you don't have a heat press that's a clamshell like this, don't worry about this part. This is completely optional. I have my shirt out of the package, and right now I'm just going to lint roll it to make sure that none of those blue fibers show up on my shirt when I press it. Now I'm placing butcher paper on top of the shirt, and I'm going to do a 10-second pre-press. We have done number 9, which is to lint roll and cover it and pre-press. We've done that. Number 10 says put butcher paper inside the shirt. So now I'm going to use that same piece of butcher paper, but I'm going to put it inside the shirt. In order to get the butcher paper inside my shirt, I did have to fold the corners back just a little bit. The purpose of this is to make sure that the ink doesn't go from the front of the shirt to the back. And I'm placing it inside, and I am going to check that off the list. The next thing on the list says to tape the image to the front of the shirt face down. So here's my image. I'm going to place it face down on this shirt. Because I'm using a V-neck, I'm going to start right at the tip of the V-neck. I'm not going 3 fingers down, and I am going to secure the image, making sure it's face up, facing in the right direction. I'm going to secure the image with heat-resistant tape. There's my cute little hedgehog. I'm taping the corners, and I'm also going to tape the sides because my heat press is kind of forceful when it opens up, and I don't want to risk my image moving while it's on the shirt. Now that my image is secured to the shirt, I'm going to check off number 11 and move on to number 12, which says to place butcher paper on top, not Teflon, not parchment paper, butcher paper. That will protect my heat press from getting any ink on it. I like to fold my butcher paper, but this is a matter of personal preference. I just fold it and I place it on top of my shirt or whatever I'm pressing, and then I will check that off and we will press it. Okay, so the heat press has opened up. I did number 13, which was to press the shirt on 400 degrees for 60 seconds. Now number 14 is actually my favorite part of any tutorial. Carefully remove the shirt from the heat press and view the successfully completed sublimated shirt. So let's see what it looks like. I'm very excited about this part. Always my very favorite part of any tutorial. Okay, let's look at it. Right. I would say be careful. This is still very hot. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Oh. Oh my goodness. 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 So this is the finished shirt. Let's move that butcher paper out. We don't need it. But this is the finished shirt. And what am I going to say? I love it. I love it so much. Look at how vibrant that is. You can see just how gorgeous this is. The ink is in the fabric. It's not going anywhere. I can wash this so many times and I won't have a problem with it. I hope you have found this tutorial helpful. Of course, I can check off number 14. There are some people who need to see that. Let me go ahead and do it. Number 14. All right, we have successfully sublimated our shirt, and this is the finished product, and we love it. Hopefully we love it. If you have found this tutorial helpful, remember to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on the bell for notifications because I do upload new content every single week. Thank you so much for joining me today, and thanks for watching. Bye.